What's one opportunity that's been a game changer for you, Alfred?
So in 2013, when I got into real estate, the surplus funds business, we were always taught to just like keep everything, like sort of hoard the information. Didn't network much. It was all about the team, the internal team, who we hired. That's where all the secrets were kept. That's where all the teamwork was created, was internally. So the thing that I learned is collaboration over competition, right?
Okay.
And so I would say in 2023 is when I really put my like real estate hat on, like real estate investor, networker hat on, and stepped outside of my comfort zone, so to speak. I mean, I've always been a social person, but now all of a sudden I'm taking my business ideas and concepts and I'm sharing them with other people. And we'll talk about that more, in the pod here, but that's the new thing for me, I would say.
Okay. Let's talk about C, communication. Tell me one, you're an excellent communicator, like comes out of you very naturally. Tell me one thing, your most important communication tip.
I would say it's actually the opposite. It's shut up. Shut up and listen, right? Be quiet. Especially in sales. Sales is my thing. So transitioning from like salesperson to like business owner was a rough transition. But in sales, it's a big percentage of listening and asking the right questions in order to really fulfill whatever desire you're looking to fulfill for your prospect, right? So, when you speak, and this is something you probably have heard of, when you speak, you're only spewing things that you already know. So if you want to learn something new, right? If you want to be able to collect ammo, so to speak, in a negotiation process, then you have to just shut up.
Yeah, I hear that all the time, and I've been hearing it more and more over the last 2 years, I would say. And, I have my own take on that. I do feel like, obviously, you have to ask questions.
Oh yeah.
100%. And then when someone answers a question, I think just common courtesy is to let them speak and answer. But the whole just be quiet thing, it's like, well, someone has to drive the conversation.
Oh yeah.
And someone has to get us to where we want to go. There's obviously the sales cycle, and then there's levels to sales as well. I mean, you can really break that down. I do think, though, that oftentimes salespeople can talk themselves out of a sale.
More often than you think.
I agree with that.
I would say 95% of salespeople are just not good.
And also, they just, it's like, it sounds good to you, dude, because you role played it, a week ago and, whatever, but like, are you connecting with the person? Are you solving their problem? And like you just said, how do I know what their problem is unless I ask them questions? I can't provide them service until I know what they need.
Right.
And they have to be speaking, and you have to be asking the questions.
Absolutely.
And then in the end, when you're good, they start asking buying questions back. And then it's your chance to really shine and do your thing and be the star of the show.
Yeah.
All right. Cool on that?
Yeah. I was gonna add something, but I don't.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, the whole staying quiet thing. Obviously, there's a juggle between you can't stay too quiet, right? And then you're just gonna get trampled over.
Has to be taken in context.
Exactly.
But like I'm saying, Alfred, I've been hearing this a lot lately from people online and stuff, and not think I'm not I just have heard it a lot, and it's like I think there's something to be said for that too on the other side that. Hey, look, I think really at the end of the day, it's what we just talked about. It's communication.
Right.
It's like I'm trying to problem solve for this person. I'm not leading with fear. I'm not afraid that I'm going to lose this sale. Mm-hmm. This person has questions. I have questions. I cannot solve their problem unless I ask those questions and they respond.
Yep.
And then when they have questions, they'll ask me once the trust is built.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sales 101, guys.
Nailed it.
All right, so understanding is you. What's one thing you wish you understood earlier in your career?
Well, a couple things. One of them was the networking aspect of it because, like I said, I kind of was like a lone ranger in the real estate business. I didn't collaborate with anybody.
Was that because of the training that you had that, hey, everyone's out to steal my secrets, keep everything close to the chest?
It's very competitive. It's like the surplus business game. It's becoming more collaborative now, especially with like educational platforms and one we're doing I'll talk about after. But the whole idea of surplus funds was like there can only be one company that wins that contract. And so you can't collaborate with multiple companies or partners or colleagues on that one contract. It's just one guy getting the contract, locking it up. And so we were sort of hoarding those secrets to ourselves. So like networking was one of those things. And then what was the other part to that, the question?
I'll get to that, but let me ask you a question. Was that, it's interesting because was it a mindset thing with you, like scarcity over abundance, or is it that there's only so many customers out there?
I think those go hand in hand. I think it was probably a little bit of that, right? A little bit of like a scarcity mindset, not coming from abundance. Also, like there was a lot of people were becoming realtors and loan officers, and like that was more mainstream thing to do. And these statistics showed that people who were in that business didn't always do so well. And the surplus funds game, when I got in, it was like the wild, wild west. And if the prospect answered their phone, you were probably going to close them. And so, you know, we were trying to keep that information. We didn't want to share it with the rest of the real estate world.
Got it.
We were doing.
You did not want to flood the market with competition and people who you feel like didn't earn it and coming after you, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, it got crazy, dude, because like
that's not like a uncommon thought process, bro.
It's not.
No.
It's the average person's thought process. For
this
sure.
is mine. I earned it. I was here first. I'm telling anyone about this.
Yeah.
I just think like that too in certain ways, man. Because yeah, dude, like you're on phones, you know, you're knocking doors. Guys are, if you feel like, I'll tell you this, in sales more than in business. Once you've been in business and built a business, made payroll for years, done all that kind of stuff, had some ups and downs, walked through some things, you realize how tough it is, how difficult it is, and then you start becoming more collaborative on the other side because you're like, if this dude can do it, what I've done, then let's work together, because there's going to be a lot of cats who try that don't make it. But when you're on the other side of that, when you're starting, you're thinking, well, if I can do it, then these guys can all do it. I'm not special, right? And in actuality, I believe that we're not special. We just maybe have more grit. Maybe we want it more. Maybe we're willing to endure more pain, sacrifice more, go the extra mile to get what we want. I think anyone can do that too, but the thing is, Alfred, most people don't.
Yeah. I have a quote for that. It's, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
Yeah.
Right?
Everyone wants to be a lion
until
it's time to do what lions do.
Exactly. They all want the glitz and glamour, but they don't want to participate in the risks.
Yes, sir.
So.
Love that, dude. Okay, so the last part was, what's one thing you wish you would have understood earlier?
Okay, so I think it was the networking aspect of it.
Yeah,
but
networking.
Also, you know, the other thing was there was a point in my career where I was like wanting to expand and step outside of my comfort zone. And I got into like consumer mode, right? Like content consumption. And I became like a content consumption professional.
Yeah.
And so applying what I learned a lot quicker, because I was already equipped with the knowledge to 10x what I wanted to do.
Love that.
And so I would say that, like, hey, you can't read about doing push-ups. You just got to do push-ups, right?
So true, dude. You know, you can get definitely, especially where we're living now, in the space we're living in, you can get paralyzed by content and analysis.
Absolutely.
And it's overwhelming. And look, the apps and the stuff we're using, they know what they're doing too. These algorithms are smart. We're just learning about ChatGPT. These cats have been using this stuff forever. So they know how to pull you back in. I literally used to read a lot more books than I read now. I don't share this with everyone because sometimes people can be like, you know, judgmental about how many books you're reading. But I do feel like at some point you got to get to work. You got to get to work.
You do.
You got to put the stuff you read, and then you can read all these books, and if you don't take notes and you don't literally like document the cliff notes or the points that hit you that you should act upon, you just read it, consume it, that was amazing. You never put it into practice. Actually, Andrew Greer, I just had him on the Details and Drinks. He's a reader, but he literally implements everything that he reads, and he just can build systems out. Crazy good.
That's powerful.
Crazy good.
That's
the other thing too, is like when you read something or consume something and it's awesome, do the work of writing it down, but then, to your point, implement it. Start doing the thing. And then eventually, you'll be able to share with someone else, hey, I learned this from this guy or this book, but now I'm doing it, and here's what it's actually doing in my business. I'm applying it. It wasn't just a golden nugget from some guy who's, you know, rich.
Yeah, but it's easier to consume, right? And there's a lot of, mentality things that go into that for
100%.
a lot of people, like just, I'm not good enough yet, or they're in denial, or I need to know this one more thing, right? It's always like this one more thing. Like you said, everybody's battling for your eyeballs, and so you always feel like it's insufficient. You always feel like I just don't have enough of what it takes to get to the next level. But in reality, dude, you really do, right? And if you could just get out there and try, and even if you don't have the answer or you're not equipped with the knowledge, going out there and actually trying and failing is going to teach you a lot more than any book can. What's the saying? 1 hour in the field is equal to 100 hours in the classroom.
I never heard that before.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, dude.
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
I love that. Got to get started, guys. Talk
Yeah.
about it all the time.
Absolutely.
And then lastly, success. To what do you attribute your success?
Man, if I had to attribute it to one thing, I would say it's attributed to one person. Because the thing is, like, there's a lot of things that attributed to this, right? One of them could have been that I was deprived as a child.
Yeah.
As we mentioned earlier, I was in a less fortunate upbringing. But I would rather say, hey, this is the one person, and I would say my mom. My mom, she held it down. She showed me what it takes to overcome adversity, to go against the grain, to keep a smile, to dance in the rain. That's the saying, right?
Love it.
And so, I would say my mom taught me that. She overcame a lot as a single mom, and there was a lot of us to worry about. You know what I mean? And so she still did such a great job for us, like hot meal on the table every night, made sure we had, clothes on our back, nice clothes, make sure we were at school on time. We had everything we needed. We didn't have everything we wanted, but we had everything we needed.